Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a squat and deadlift day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. If you aren't subscribed, then subscribe. If you're on Facebook, hit those stars. All right, so we started out with a back squat training max. I went up to 485 today. I did pause it. It looks like I did reach depth, so the depth is getting better at opening the hips up, pushing the hips back, everything. Overall, pretty happy with this. Now, I'd like to work on sinking these just a little deeper. Need to get back to where I'm getting, a good inch below meet legal depth, at least consistently with my training maxes, and I need to get back above 500 pounds doing that every single week. All right. But a lot of it's just trying to get those hips back, to try to keep that shank as vertical as possible. And like I said, I feel like that one would pass in competition, but not by a lot. It's pretty close, but it also wasn't 100%. So I'm going to keep working on sinking those deeper before I go up much more in weight. Deadlifts went actually easier today than last time. Came in just in my stance just a little bit. But, again, basing it on my weak points. People will say, oh, you have that certain weak point right below the knee, and that's true with the stance that I use to get more speed off the floor. But if my quads are growing because I'm doing all the belt squats and stuff again, I'm not as reliant upon that. So I took a hair wider stance, and it's still a really narrow stance. Notice I didn't have that spot that slowed down there. Nice good hold at the top. Again, training max, it's not 100%. You guys watched me pull 615 again a few weeks ago. So one thing I did change today, I noticed my belt squats go better when I have a hamstring pump. So rather than start off with a set of belt squats and then superset them with the glute ham raises, I did all of my glute ham raises first. Then I decided to superset my belt squats with the reverse hypers all the way up to the end. And yeah, my volumes here are pretty moderate. They are on my upper body days too. It's just that I do all that delt work in right at the end. All right, I only do like 4 exercises. And then I do a bunch of delt supersets, which again for upper body isn't a lot of stimulus because the delts are the largest muscle in the upper body. Not my opinion. That is verified through multiple studies that have used cadavers and everything to determine this stuff by weight. So in that case, though, all that delt work actually contributes a lot. So just all the pushing and pulling is kept to minimal sets. Same thing on the lower body days. I mean, really, I do 3 sets of glute ham raises, 3 sets of belt squats after my maxes. But what do we know based upon the literature that we have? Heavy singles cause a more efficient muscle fiber recruitment and performance in your subsequent work sets. So therefore, we may get a little more out of them. So accordingly, we don't have to have quite as much volume. But all these 3x10s work quite well here. All right, so I do that, and then I do reverse hypers and hanging leg raises. Now the reverse hypers are a bit more volume, right, because we do 5 sets. But I think the other thing to keep in mind here, I'm also doing 2 maxes. So people might say, well, your upper body volume's higher marginally. But that's only because I throw all those single joint delt exercises into the end right now. If we were to just look at the pushing and pulling, it's pretty close to the lower body, just actually really just a small amount more. But we come over to the lower body day, the squat and deadlift, and I'm doing 2 big lifts. Right, all I'm doing is hitting a max bench on the upper body days, right, the bench press days. I'm doing a squat and a deadlift, right, which use most of the muscles in the body, and we're doing both. Doing both for a heavy single up to a training max. So really, my heavyweight stimulus is considerably higher. Right, my max effort stimulus is much higher. So it actually really balances out. I believe that it does in the end. I think it balances out here. Again, that's if we take the delt stuff out. But I don't have any single joint stuff like that on the lower days unless I do those leg extensions with the bands, which I don't feel that I need now. They helped me for just a short phase, helped me make my knee tendons feel better, and now I just try to go really deep on the belt squats. We get our sets in. But I think for some of this, I think the max squat and the max deadlift ramp up do count as a quad work set each. So in my opinion, I feel like my quads do get 5 work sets. We're on the low end of that optimal hypertrophy range. And even if we didn't want to count the singles, the increased efficiency on the 10s, it matters. Now in this case, the belt squats, what am I doing? I go wide stance and I'm going as deep as I can. I want to maximize lower body muscle growth. That wider stance lets me use a little more adductor. Going as deep as possible lets me use a little more quad. All right, so we're making everything grow. Quads, adductors, glutes, all grow from that. Glute ham raises work the entire posterior chain. They should work the adductors to some extent, but really hamstrings, glutes with a little bit of low back. Come over to the reverse hypers though, we end up doing 5 sets of these. These are glute and erector dominant with some hamstring. So posterior chain actually does get a slightly higher priority. It's a slightly higher priority just because of the reverse hypers in there. And really my glutes get worked the most. Every single exercise here hits the glutes. The glutes are a primary mover in every single one of these exercises. We're working them at multiple angles. All right, so they're getting the highest stimulus. And glutes being the second largest muscle in the entire body. Quads being the largest. So I superset these, and I went up 10 pounds on the belt squat. I went up 10 pounds today, which I felt it. I noticed the difference. It was noticeable. But it means all of our squat stimulus is higher because we went up 10 pounds on the training max on the squat. I managed to get reasonably deep on it. We went up 10 pounds on the belt squat. So this technically is more work than last session. Maybe not for posterior chain, but all the squat muscles, but that would include glutes. So then what we did here after, because I did 5 sets of belt squats, or 3 sets of belt squats, 5 sets of reverse hypers, you'll see me do 2 more sets afterwards of the reverse hypers. You know, keeping with my normal numbers. Of course, the last set I crank out a couple more reps because I know they're in there. And then we finish off with a set of hanging leg raises. All right, I just want to make sure I get that extra abdominal work in. Now, reverse hypers, the squats, the deadlifts, all that work that area pretty well, but I do want one exercise in there to hit those, and I just basically run a set of 10, and 10 gets pretty challenging. I do a single 10 rep set of hanging leg raises. Now, I might, in some of these lower body workouts, I might add more sets as we go, but right now I'm at least doing them. We're getting some training stimulus, and I do crunches and stuff sometimes at night for really high reps, like 200 reps. So I am getting a little additional abdominal work, and oblique and everything. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.